and bounds from the time you finish the game. I remember when our motto at the Broncos when I was 19 was train hard, play hard, drink hard. That was our motto. That was our team ethos. Train hard, play hard, drink hard.
And that was embedded in you pretty much.
It was embedded in me, and I didn't stop doing that until I finished playing footy. Yeah. Certainly the drinking. I got into a lot of trouble because of my drinking, but the drinking culture has shifted a little bit. It's gone. It's much better than what it was. After a game when I was at the Bronx, and I've got no dramas with it because that's how it was. But after a game, you'd walk in to the sheds, you'd still have your jersey on, and there'd be eskies in the middle of the dressing room, massive big eskies full of Crown Lagers and full of 4X Gold and you'd walk in and you'd walk straight over and you grab a beer and you crack it and you just start drinking.
Legends, welcome to another week of the INTOCHANGE Podcast. And for anyone out there that's a Rugby League fan, you're going to absolutely love my next guest. He played for the Parramatta Eels, the Gold Coast Titans, as well as the Brisbane Broncos, just to name a few of the teams he played for. In his 2001 debut to State of Origin, he scored a try in all 3 of the games. I give you Chris Walker. Now, Walks is a father, an entrepreneur, and an ex-football player who got stuck into the drinking culture, as most football players do. But after being sober for 8 months, he will tell you that life is so much better without these things in it. To find out more about what Walks has been up to over the last few years, as well as to hear about his freak accident that nearly claimed his life, stick around because Walker's on. Mr. Chris Walker. Thanks for coming out, brother. Appreciate you jumping on today.
Thanks, Benny. Thanks for the invite, mate. And hopefully we can get some good content.
Yeah, 100%, bro. No doubt. Now, I remember the first time we met. I don't know if you remember it because you're pretty fucked up. But it was actually, I think we were both on a bender. It was at a house party on the Gold Coast here. And man, how far you've come since then, since I met you, bro. Like, you've done so many things. Obviously, with the walk from Cairns.
Yep.
To the Gold Coast, obviously with your fundraiser and that sort of stuff, to now starting your own alcohol brand as well. But obviously,
a bit ironic when we started on a bender and now we've got a vodka company.
Yeah, so. Actually, I was going to say that as well. Obviously because you've been sober now 8 months, right?
Yeah, it's been a productive 7-8 months for myself. Like you said, been off the piss. So it's a little bit, like I said, a little bit different from when we first met. Different setting, a much more calmer setting than when we first met, mate. So thanks very much for having me on.
I appreciate you coming out, bro. Now, a lot of people probably recognise you from your football career. So you've played for a number of teams, including the Maroons for a couple of seasons, right?
Yes. So debuted for Queensland 2001. It was after, I don't know if people can remember, the 2000 series. New South Wales come out last game, beat us by 50 points. Queensland was in a bit of disarray at that stage. We'd lost a couple of series before. Queensland had just got rid of the coach, and the great Wayne Bennett took over in 2001. So he was my first grade coach at the Broncos at the time. So we had a really good relationship, and obviously with my brothers, Ben and Shane, already being coached by Wayne. And then ironically enough, my dad, when he was playing footy, was coached by Wayne Bennett during the 70s and 80s. Full circle. So, it was pretty cool how things started. But to get the call up for, obviously, the Maroons, I bleed Maroon. I love Queensland. I love the state. I love the people. Live in the state. I know they're not all Queensland supporters, but
it's a shame, isn't it?
It's a shame. I think after this year's series, I think we can get a few more people over to support Queensland. So
it's great timing as well, isn't it? Because first game was only a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was, and I was supposed to be down there to do. I do the corporate stuff for each Origin. Being a past player, you sort of get the perks of going to the game and doing the corporate stuff. You don't really watch too much of the game because you're talking to all the corporates in the corporate boxes. But I didn't get down to the game down in Adelaide. But I honestly think that game, game one this year, was probably one of the best wins Queensland's had in the entire 43 years that State of Origin's been around.
Wow.
Just on the way they started, started on fire, got out to 10 points or 12 points in the first 10 minutes. New South Wales, to their credit, in those sort of situations, it's easy to sort of drop your bundle and go away from your game plan because you've been training like that for all week. And then the way Queensland started, they could have easily turned it up. But, to their credit, they came back and got in front. But then everyone talks about the Queensland spirit. The last 12 minutes, especially, I think it was such a great win for Queensland, especially the circumstances.
Of course.
The way that they defended for 60 minutes after the way they started. New South Wales came back into the game, and then Cam Munster, wow, what a player! He turned it up for Queensland the last 10.
On the whole time, eh?
Oh, he just does things. He's a special player, and he pulls out special moments at a special time. Queensland being down to 12 men the last 7 minutes, he goes out, gets the ball by himself, sets up the hammer, and Hammer puts it down and scores. And then the last couple of minutes, Lindsay Collins climbs higher than his Roosters teammate, and James Tedesco plucks the ball out, scores a try, wins the game for Queensland. And we talk about the Queensland spirit, and funnily enough, like that Queensland spirit, I still call on that for myself. I'm 43 years of age. The last time I played Origin was 21 years ago, and every day I call on that Queensland spirit in myself to get up, get out of bed, go to work, start a business. And it's amazing what you can do when you go deep down into your soul to go out and do something. And that's what Queensland does.
Right. So like the things you've already overcome, if you've already done that, then think about what you can do in your day, right?
100%. And it's about getting out of bed. It's about, 3 years ago I changed my mindset. My mindset, was getting on the piss and going out and partying and, all that sort of stuff.
When we probably first met was around that time, right?
Yeah. And I changed my mindset to, it's amazing. Like I get out of bed on an unusual morning at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now I changed my mindset, getting out of bed 2 hours before I'd usually get out of bed. And it's once you add those 2 hours up over a year of productivity, it's an extra month.
It's crazy what you can do with that time, right?
It's
extra
crazy.
Couple of hours in the morning, because I was very similar, right? I get up at 7, 8 o'clock. I get up at 4 o'clock now.
Yep.
If I don't get up at 4 o'clock, I realise how much I lose in the day. Just that small adjustment.
It's crazy. It's for me, the 2 hours in the morning is my time. Whether I'll wake up at 5. I didn't this morning. I missed training with my business partner.
Oh, you're telling me you couldn't come in here because of training?
Filthy. Because we'd just spent a weekend in Sydney. Yeah. Big meetings. So I was, it's amazing when you get a little bit older, travel takes it out of you.
Yeah.
And I woke up this morning at 6:15. I was like, shit.
Hey, hello. Sorry for interrupting your podcast, but I just wanted to quickly jump on and tell you about the must-have personal development tool for 2023, and it's called the Happier, Healthier You Journal. So I'll take you back to about 6 years ago. I'd just gotten out of jail for the last time and was starting my journey of personal development and growth. There was heaps of gurus, heaps of information available, but so much so that it became confusing. So I came up with the Happier, Healthier You Journal to help you to navigate what can be an absolute minefield. From the very get-go, you open the page and it'll challenge you to dive deep with self-assessments, daily activities, and check-ins to figure out exactly where you're at, where you'd like to be. And then from there, the journal becomes the tool to help you to bridge that gap. So to get your hands on this, click on the link below and don't forget to use Interchange 10 at checkout for a cheeky 10% off. I'll see you back over on the episode.
My alarm, I didn't set my alarm at 5 o'clock because that's when I usually get up. But even that hour and 15 minutes this morning, I feel like I'm behind.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's once you get it in here,
Yeah.
once you get it in your head, that's your time. Like I wake up at 5, I've got 3 kids and my missus. I'll lay in bed for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Most people, and I'm going to probably start changing this, where you get out of, where you actually, when your alarm goes off, you get straight out of bed.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I've been told that's another really good trigger for starting your day. But my trigger at the moment is 35 minutes to 45 minutes, laying in bed, going through my phone, going through my notes, going through my diary for the day. And then that's my productivity. That's my time to myself. The house is dark, the house is quiet, and it's my time. Yeah, that's my time.
And that's how you choose to spend your time, right?
It's my time. It's it's laying next to my wife. It's having my 3 kids asleep. They're ready to go to and then
Isn't that a dream?
It's a dream. It's yeah. I don't have the chaos of when we come home from school, I get home sometimes at 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Sometimes I get home at 12 o'clock at night if I'm doing tastings. I've got meetings in Brisbane or Sydney or whatnot, and it's chaos.
Yeah,
but for that 40 minutes, let's say average of 40 minutes in the morning is my time, and it's bliss. You're in your safety of your house. You've got a clear mind. Everything is quiet. It's usually dark.
Yeah.
And it's my time. And then I get up, I go train, and then I start my day. And it's amazing between that 5 to 7, that 2-hour block.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can get done. And then that sets the tone for the rest of your day.
Correct. They say win the morning, win the day, right?
Win the morning, win the day.
See, but that's only half the truth because you've got to win the night before to win the next morning, right?
That's right.
So there's nighttime and morning rituals like you've obviously started to implement for yourself. It's so important, man.
Yep.
So important.
It's crazy if you get those right that you can then start your day and you go, right, I've got things covered. I'm not missing anything. Yes, I mean you still miss things because you're that busy, but you're more likely to cross off everything that you want to do from the day before, the next day or the week before, and then you get that done. It's crazy, once you start getting that productivity, and then you can start working on yourself. And once you work on yourself and you have a clear head, like I went through, when I was playing football, I had anxiety problems. I had drinking problems. I'd go. The amount of times that I go into a restaurant or a bar or a club or a pub, and because you're a football player, it's like now that I'm 43, I don't care what people think of me. I couldn't care less. Like I do not have any dramas with people, judging me for anything, whatever it was. But when I was younger, when I was at that 18, 19, 20, up to about 26, 27, I'd walk into a pub, a club, a restaurant, and I'd just start drinking because I'd have this anxiety that people were looking at me or people were talking.
Mechanism, right?
It was a coping mechanism. And then I'd smash, and this is where a lot of my troubles got into when I was playing football, was not many people, a lot of people can drink and still control themselves, but then there's that 5% that can't. And I was unfortunately in that 5%. Me as well. Yeah, and as soon as you can admit it, as soon as you know that it's there, you can deal with it. Yeah. So it's been 7 months I've been off the drink, and my productivity, it's weird because I own a vodka company.
Ironic, isn't it?
It's so ironic, but this is the thing. Like I'd rather my happiness now is seeing people enjoy my product.
Yeah.
Because it's so smooth.
I get that, man. I really get that.
Like I love going. There's nothing better for me. There's no bigger high for me than obviously watching my kids play sport and them flourish. But going into a venue and someone have our vodka, and you don't know what they're talking to about their mates, but they look at the glass and go, oh, that's nice. Like you can see them appreciate what we're crafting. Yeah. And that is my new vice, is my new thing.
Addiction, right?
It's my new addiction.
Yeah, man.
And I've got a very addictive personality, which we've both had.
We're very similar on that as well, man.
So, but it's to have an addictive personality is unbelievable. Yeah. Like
it's a superpower if you use it correctly.
It's a superpower if you use it correctly. And that's the thing with these very, very successful businessmen that I've had the pleasure to deal with my whole entire life, because we have these guys that are worth millions, if not billions. These guys are our sponsors when I was playing football for the Broncos, Roosters. These guys are really successful businessmen, and they're all so alike. They've all got these addictive personalities, and they go, and they're really smart. And it wasn't until I was about 26 where I realised that the guys that are involved in sponsorship of the Broncos, Titans, whatever it was, they're really successful businessmen. So when I go to a function, I'd network the room and talk to them, and I'd ask them about their business and all that sort of stuff. And it's amazing how much education you can get from those guys. And I still use those today, 43 years on, and starting a vodka company.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. So obviously your, starting life was playing football. That's where your bread and butter was.
Yep.
How did that career start for you? Like, did you have family in the game? Were you brought up around it? What was it like for you growing up?
I grew up in Toowoomba, little country town.
So pretty local still.
Yeah, out west, country boy.
Yeah.
grew up with 4 boys in the family, 3 older brothers, 1 younger.
Yeah, so punch-ons were regular.
Oh, punch-ons were so regular. Games of football during winter were a religion at our house.
Yeah.
And also, too, like we grew up, there was no next-door neighbours. We grew up in a bit of acreage. We had
Just people
horses.
that know Toowoomba is fucking cold in winter.
It is the coldest place on earth. I grew up without a TV.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a TV in our house for 12 years.
Yeah.
So, but the beauty of that is the interaction between me and my brothers. Like me, Ben, Shane, then me, then Luke. We are the closest brothers I've ever met.
I love that.
Ever
That's
met.
cool.
Like we fight like cats and dogs, but then 2 seconds later we're back to being best mates.
Yeah.
We have a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
We're all very, 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 very different. Ben, my older brother, he doesn't have an emotional bone in his body. Shane, he's sort of like, he just bounces between all us boys, and then I'm sort of the black sheep of the family, as they say.
Yeah.
But and then Luke, he's like mum, he's like a worry wart, and he just he has his.
Funny how like in the family culture you don't have one person or 2 people that are exactly the same. It's everyone has their own sort of little dynamic, their own little sort of part of the family, right?
100%. And we grew up out west, Toowoomba, and then my dad played footy.
Yeah.
Getting back to the question, my dad played footy for in the Brisbane comp.
Yeah.
He was coached by. He was coached by Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
So Wayne coached him during the 70s and 80s when he was coaching at Brothers in Brisbane. So Dad won the 1980 grand final. And this is when the Brisbane comp was, full of Gene Miles, Wally Lewis.
Wow.
Greg Kinescu, Mark Graham.
Yeah.
Like these guys, the elite football players back
greats.
then. So, and then Dad played in the 1980 grand final for North. They beat South. Mel Meninga was playing for South. There was, I think, 45,000 people at the grand final. So it was it was elite. And then we ended up moving to Toowoomba.
Yeah.
Moved out there when I was 2 years of age from Brisbane. And then moved out sort of like in between Toowoomba and Oakey, a bit of acreage.
Yeah.
Really, I am so thankful to my mum and dad for the upbringing that they had with us boys.
Sure.
Mum and dad didn't have a lot of money. Mum worked 2 jobs. Dad worked 2 jobs. Us boys were really excelling in sport at that time. So, paying for Queensland attire, for touch, rugby league were our sports, and they were all through us boys. So, we're making Queensland, making Australian teams, we're going away. So that was all expensive stuff back then.
Sure.
That wasn't just like a couple $100. That was thousands
Wasn't
of
that
dollars.
local league like a football team?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, and most of the trips were like, you had to fly we'd be flying to Canberra, we'd be flying to somewhere to go, playing a state championship or a national championship, and then Shane's going over and playing in England, and I'm playing like it was expensive. Like it was expensive for parents who didn't have much.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everything that my mum and dad gave to us. We were certainly not spoon-fed.
Yeah, but you always had a good relationship with your parents, obviously.
Oh, my dad's my hero. My mum's my hero. My dad and my mum wears a heart in a sleeve, and I just had a really, really good upbringing without being spoiled. Nothing was given to us.
Yeah.
We had to work really, really hard for everything, and that came from mum and dad as well. That was we weren't driving Bentleys and living on the beach. We were out the back lots of Toowoomba, and it was a hard upbringing. But looking back on it, I appreciate everything that my mum and dad gave to us. And then at a young age, Ben was picked up by the Broncos. 15 years of age, he was picked up, went down, and then the talent scout, his name was Cyril Connell. He was an old guy that just had a knack for picking talent. He was unbelievable. This guy was a saint. He was a beautiful human being. He passed away probably 10 years ago now, and he picked up my brother when he was 15, and then he obviously heard that Shane was coming through at 13, I was 11, and then Luke was much younger. He was 4 years below me, and then I got picked up at 12, 13 years of age for the Broncos, so I was pretty young.
Yeah, man.
And then the transition from school, we left Toowoomba, went down to Brisbane, started playing at the Broncos at a young age, and that's where it all started. And I had 14 years of playing first grade. Ben had 12, and I think Shane had 12 years of playing first grade. Luke didn't play first grade. He ended up going in and he started at the Broncos younger grades, but never played first grade, and then started his own business, and then went out and did his own business. But that sort of sporting background. Mum's brother played Queensland Rugby Union, so we've always had that.
It's always in the family.
It's been in the bloodline. So, I'm very appreciative of having that opportunity of playing 14 years of first grade and being successful and getting to play for the Mighty Maroons too.
Fucking oath, brother. Now, you've played for a number of teams, yeah?
Yep.
What was your fondest moment when playing rugby league professionally?
Definitely getting the call up to play my debut game.
Yeah.
That I can still remember it, Wayne coming to tell me that unfortunately my all-time favourite player is Steve Renouf. Love him. He's just the best bloke off the field, an unbelievable talent on the field.
Yeah. Just all-round guy.
All-round best.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I was named 18th man for the Broncos because Steve Renouf was playing for the Broncos and he had a hamstring injury. So I didn't get to enjoy the full week of being selected. I only got picked the day before because he missed out on doing his fitness test.
Yeah, okay.
Failed his fitness test. But I got to replace my all-time favourite player and play in the centres for Steve Renouf because he got ruled out.
Yeah.
So then I got called in because he got ruled out. I would have loved to have debuted with him, but to take his spot was a really, really big thing. I remember Wayne just saying, listen, if Steve doesn't pass his fitness test, get yourself ready. You're going to be playing first grade. You're going to be debuting. And I was like, holy shit, this has been a lifelong dream. This is, I'm 19, I just turned 19 years of age, and I was just like frothing on going out there and playing with the big boys. I'd watched my brother Ben debut for Broncos. I'd watched Shane debut for Broncos. So for me to get that call up and the excitement that those two boys had, and Mum and Dad and Luke had for me was, to add on to, getting that call up to debut for a team that you loved and you grew up watching. And I remember that as, top two, and then obviously getting the call up to represent Queensland in State of Origin, winning the series after we'd just been pumped the year before was a really, just brought Queensland back.
Come back with them and obviously being part of it as well.
I'd been a part of it, and it was just, it's a memory that'll stick with me for the rest of my life. And I guess I don't have Alzheimer's yet, but
unless you get Alzheimer's.
with the amount of head knocks, and all this CTE and all that. That's one thing that I am worried about with my brain. Back then, you get knocked out. I've seen Mick Crocker, the great Mick Crocker. I play with Mick. He'd get knocked out 3 times before half time and play on. Whereas now they bring in the HIA rule, which I totally agree with. I totally agree with, because you only have one brain.
Yeah.
I've seen football players, I've seen boxers especially.
Yeah, boxers especially.
They put their bodies through. Some of them go out there and fight for $500. On a fight night.
Yeah.
I think that they should be paid a lot more.
Well, it's their life, really, isn't it?
It's their life.
Because this is the thing. A lot of people don't think about long term.
Yep.
They think about the here and now. They're not looking at what the repercussions could be long term. But the thing is, they're getting paid fuck all. Really, they're putting their body on the line, which could then impact them later on in life.
Yeah. And it does. Some players can sit there and their hands shake because they just had so much trauma happen to their brain. And you only get one brain.
Yeah, man.
That's what we've got to remember.
Yeah.
And I remember when HIA first come in and the purists let them play on. I'm like, I was actually, I've seen mates, I've been at dinner with friends, I won't mention their names, that have played 15 years of first grade, order and then start talking and then, order their meal and then start talking. And then 5 minutes later go, listen, we better order. Whereas 5 minutes before we've just ordered and they can't remember.
Yeah.
So, I'm all for the HIA rule, and I think that's a really a good step forward. In the development, I've got a young boy myself playing under 13, so I actually don't mind that. It's ridiculous to get knocked out one week and then play the following week. I don't mind that 11-day turnaround where they get to sit out. Because it gives your brain that time to settle down. I've had 1,000 head knocks myself, and settle down, and then get a bit of clarity back in your mind, and then start playing again. So
you know yourself, obviously, after being knocked out, it does fuck you up, right? Like I was talking to you before about the boxing fight I had get knocked out, right?
Yep.
For the next week or two, I did not feel right.
Yeah.
Like there was just something off, and you just don't know what it is, but there's just something missing, right? You're not firing and wiring the way you were.
It's crazy, eh? How you don't, like, being knocked out for me is the worst feeling you can ever have.
Yeah.
It is crazy what it does to your brain.
You don't know where you are. You wake up and you're like, what's happened?
What's happened?
Yeah. Like, yeah, man, it's just crazy, isn't it?
And that trauma on your brain, like I said, it's an organ that you only get one of, and you got to look after it as best you can.
100%.
And the kids these days that do go out and get knocked out, and then have that 11-day turnaround, I'm all for it. A lot of boys want to keep on playing, but at the end of the day, what's it worth? Like, you can have you can play for 15 years, get $1 million a season, live in a massive big mansion, but you can't enjoy it because you can't remember it.
Yeah.
I know what I'd rather do.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd rather sit out for 11 days.
Yeah, exactly right. Kick back for a little bit.
Kick back for a bit and then play the following week, So a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we've spoken about like the glory of playing the game of football, but there's obviously like, a lot of darkness that comes from it as well. Like we're speaking about with the head knocks, injuries, things like that, the drinking culture as well. What are your thoughts on the drinking culture around the football, man? Hey guys, sorry to interrupt again, but if you're liking what you see so far, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Remember, all your support is really appreciated, and I'll see you back over on the episode.
The thing is, the drinking culture now, my young nephew plays for the Roosters, little Sammy, the drinking culture with those boys are totally different from when I started.
Better or worse?
Oh, so much better. So much better.
Oh man, I want to hear about this.
No, so they are better. The more so the time from they've come ahead leaps and bounds from the time you finish the game. I remember when our motto at the Broncos when I was 19 was train hard, play hard, drink hard. That was our motto. That was our team ethos. Train hard, play hard, drink hard.
And that was embedded in you pretty much.
It was embedded in me, and I didn't stop doing that until I finished playing footy. Yeah. Certainly the drinking. I got into a lot of trouble because of my drinking, but the drinking culture has shifted a little bit. It's gone. It's much better than what it was. After a game when I was at the Bronx, and I've got no dramas with it because that's how it was. But after a game, you'd walk in to the sheds, you'd still have your jersey on, and there'd be Eskies in the middle of the dressing room, massive big Eskies full of Crown Lagers and full of 4X Gold and you'd walk in and you'd walk straight over and you grab a beer and you crack it and you just start drinking. Yeah. But it was fun. Like I've got best memories ever. Like I'm not sitting here going, why would the Broncos do that to us, or why would the Roosters do that to us? It was good. I loved it. I've got no dramas with that. Absolutely none at all. But nowadays, everything is right. It's a $1 billion business now. It's a multi-billion dollar business. AFL. League, not so much union because they've lost their TV deal, but it's big business. And these boys now treat themselves as a business individually, whereas we were just employees back then. Yep. Now they're actual business. They're businessmen for themselves. That's where they are. These kids are much smarter than what I was when I was playing and they're getting a lot more money than what I was.
It's a lot more regulated now as well, and there's a lot more backlash if they do fuck up, right?
These things here, with the cameras on the phones, they're the reason. They're the reason why a lot of them have changed a lot of their behaviours off the field. Like we see Dylan Brown just recently get in trouble for some, sexual assault charges or something put on him because he felt a girl up. I don't know the story and I'm not even going to comment about it. Of course. But that there was, the video footage and the CCTV footage, like that's all changed from when I was a kid. You probably had one camera in one venue out of 1,000 back then. Now they've all got just cameras. It wasn't us misbehaving in the background, but no, we weren't misbehaving either. But
come on now,
no, I was misbehaving. But all that's changed. Like the whole dynamic of the world, that this woke community that we live in at the moment is doing my head in. Yeah, it's doing my head in. Like it's There's so much wrong with the world right now if you get sucked into it with this social media, and social media has been a massive driver of that.
Huge.
Massive driver.
I couldn't agree more.
Like I remember when I was playing footy, it was sort of the back end of my career. It was 2008, 2009. Twitter had just been released. It was a thing. People were starting to get onto it. I don't know if you can remember back then. And I remember when I was playing footy, when I was young, you'd go to the games and, you cop the abuse. That's a part of playing footy. That's the reason why we have fans, because they're either going for one team or they're going for another team. One team
or tries to pull you back.
That's right. One lot of supporters are going for your team and love you. The other team supporters fucking hate you, and they will say whatever they need to say to you to get under your skin. And you don't take it personal, because it's not personal, except for the death threats I was getting. I thought I took those ones personal. We can get onto those later.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'd finish a game, and there'd be, say, 30,000, 40,000 people at the stadium, and for 80 minutes there'd be people peppering you, right? And then occasionally, if when you leave the sheds and you walk to the car, you get peppered, and that was it. And then the next morning you wake up and they might write something about you in the paper, and that was it. Yeah. But then social media come around, and I remember it as clear as day. I was playing for the Titans. I had a shocker of a game, and I was going through my Twitter feed, and I was getting pumped, like getting hammered, like from all different people. I was like, fuck, hang on, this was my safe space. Like once upon a time, you get in the car and you get a bit of abuse or you get a bit of a cheer, but now I'm sitting at home in my private home, away from everyone else, and they still had time to pepper me. So then I didn't really know social media back then. I'd start peppering them back. I'd try and get the last say in, and then I started becoming a keyboard warrior to them.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't know social media back then. Yeah. Like, you can use social media. There's two types. You can use social media to your advantage with all these influencers and that. Some of them are making bank, and you don't even know what they do. Like they're certainly not talented at fucking sport. They're not
big enough for that, bro.
Sorry,
our tits aren't big enough for that.
I know. But that's the thing. Like the old thing, sex sells. You see OnlyFans now, and you see people. You hear of girls selling their soul to make a shitload of money, and good. I've got no dramas with that whatsoever. Man.
It's a hustle, right?
It's a hustle. That's right. And you know what? The good ones, they're smart. Like they're smart business people. It's a business, and going back to league, what I said before, league players don't see themselves as an employee anymore. They see themselves as a personal business for themselves. We see that with influencers now, the smart ones, like your Tammy Hembrows. Like, she makes bank at what she does, and good on her. Like, that's fucking kudos to her. Yeah. If you can do it, I love seeing the success that most of these influencers have on social media. It's sort of changed the world, but there's also a dark side to it. Yeah, and that's one thing that we've got to address as a community. And if we address that, well then, I feel sorry for my kids. I've got twins that are 13. I've got a 15-year-old daughter. Yeah. Really stable kids. They don't get it from their father. They get it from their mother. But to have what it's going to be like in 5, 10, 20 years.
This is what we're experiencing now. I feel the same, man. My son's 4 years old, and I see it all the time. I'm just like, fuck what you're growing up in is going to be chaos. But obviously, as parents, all we can do is try and guide them in the right direction.
That's all we can do.
Yeah,
that's all we can do, and
the world's going to continue to change.
And that's a large reason why I'm not drinking, because I want to. I'm probably that 5% that shouldn't drink. Yeah. Where 95% of people love the product. They generally love it, and I'm not going to deprive them of that by me drinking. And it's the same thing with my kids. I don't want to see my getting home at 10 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the afternoon from the night before and, reeking a piss and not being a role model for my kids. That's the reason why. And just the productivity. Like I want people to, I get more of a high out of people drinking my product than me drinking it. Yeah. That's just me, and I'm being product.
Well, the outcome's better right for you anyway.
The outcome's better for me as well, because I'm not ringing up the next morning going, who did I offend? Or,
who do I have to apologise to?
Who do I have to apologise to? Or, fucking how much money do I owe someone? Or, whatever it is. It's that sort of head noise has gone out of my day-to-day routine, and now it's replaced with, waking up at 5 and getting up. But I've been doing that for, like I said, for 3 years, waking up at 5 and, productivity's been a lot better than what it has with drinking. So, I just the social media side of things with my kids in 10, 20 years, and now with the artificial intelligence, that is so scary.
I'm actually going to a Kerwin Ray event tomorrow, and he's talking about using AI for business because there's so many people doing it.
So many
and
people.
I feel like I'm behind the ball. Like I'm here writing my own content still. Like
Hey,
there's literally like prompts you can put into this fucking AI to get them to do that shit.
The chat GPT. I got someone told me about it. Maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they said, listen, they got on Chat GPT and showed me what it was all about. And they said, right, I write a business plan for a gym situated in Burleigh, I think he put it. Write a business plan, bang, 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 what, and then within 45 seconds, it just...
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I read it, I was like, fuck, I want to join that gym.
Yeah.
Like... It is crazy where we're going, and it's so fucking scary. And I'm no expert on AI. I'm definitely not. I'm not a tech person, but I'm just an average Joe walking around the street, an average person that's now understanding what this Chat GPT is and the AI intelligence and fucking robots that are doing things. Like, it's going to get to a point, and people are going to laugh at me watching this, but it's going to get to a point where these robots, we won't need to pay them because they're programmed to do what we do. So building houses, fucking all this labour-intensive stuff that they can do, certainly, behind a desk, they can fucking do it faster than any human.
Look at them already doing it. They've got behind the desk shit, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. It is wild what they're doing. It is, and the thing is, I think Elon Musk, I read something that Elon Musk found out, he worked on it 8 or 9 years ago, and he stepped back and he went, nah, this is fucking way too scary where this can go. It will, I can guarantee you, it'll replace humans in 100 years.
Yeah.
It's almost like I keep on, when I think about it, and people are going to fucking laugh at me, but this is just me. In 100 years, it's going to be like that Terminator movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like because they'll end up programming themselves better than what we can.
Yeah.
And they'll be...
Because they learn, right?
They learn. This is all learn, and this is how scary it is.
Yeah.
Like my kids, fuck me. I feel for them.
I saw a post from Alex Mosey about, you know who that is? Alex Mosey, he's like fucking massive, like he's like a gym guru, gym tycoon sort of thing. He like takes over businesses and things like that. Anything that's like about 30 million, he'll like increase it to like 300 mil sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, and he said it's not Chat GPT 4 or Chat GPT 5 I'm worried about. It's like Chat GPT like 30, right? Like in a couple of years' time, that shit's going to be fucking wild because what it's able to do at the moment already and what it's going to be able to do after learning all the data that everyone else is putting into it.
Fucking crazy.
We're feeding into it. You know,
It's crazy.
We're creating that.
It's crazy.
It's just like Terminator, right?
It's Terminator. It's fucking Terminator. What I watched when I was 7 years of age, and I shit myself about it. Going, nah, that will fucking never happen in my lifetime.
Yeah,
I'm 43.
Run around shooting each other, but we fucking gonna have something similar.
Something similar, and people are gonna go, oh no, but we can turn the computers off.
Yeah.
But they can rewire the computers to turn themselves back on.
We'll become obsolete.
We become obsolete.
Yeah.
And that is the fucking scariest. But like I said, I remember watching Terminator when I was 10, 7, whatever I was, thinking to myself, fuck, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
This is just, I'm so glad that Hollywood brought this out because it's scary. Fuck, you imagine
People wouldn't be stupid enough to make this happen, would they?
Yeah, fucking 35 years on, fucking guess what? We're talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking wild thing. It's fucking wild where things are going. It's, and you know what? Since COVID, it's fucking accelerated that, like the wokeness of life, like we saw what Bud Light's doing with fucking that Dylan Mulvaney or whatever it is. They lost fucking $6.5 billion. Dylan Mulvaney's celebrated 1 year of being a woman, like the transgender shit. Like, and they had him as the face.
Yeah.
Because he said he's a girl now. I don't know how all that. And I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. This is fucking a conversation that's just what I'm seeing.
There,
Like they had this Dylan, I don't know what Mulvaney or whatever his name is. had him as the face because he said that he was a girl for a year and he's got his period now, and people are saying that males can now be pregnant and all this sort of shit. Like, it's just fucking weird. Anyway, because when I grew up, fucking males definitely couldn't have babies. And then so they had him as the face of Bud Light, and they lost $6.5 billion in the first quarter. Wow. And it's just all this woke stuff. Like, that's another conversation we get into. But like, the social media is fucking, it's going to bring us down. Like, this,
like, it's made everything that we're talking about now so much more accessible because it's just out there. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't shit or fart without someone fucking poking a stick at it and being like, you did this.
That's right. Like, you say something that, like,
I got attacked the other day for a fucking reel that I put up, and it came across apparently as homophobic, but it was just me speaking my mind, right? Yeah. And I'm the least homophobic person, but I got attacked online because of that, you know what I mean?
I'm the least homophobic fucking... I just don't like it when the kids are involved. Yeah. When they push it, like you see on social media now, they're doing drag shows and they're doing fucking bondage shows at schools.
Wow.
Like, I saw something on, again, social media. I saw it on Twitter. They were doing a parade through a street, and they had a bloke on the back of a ute tied up in bondage, like skimpy, like fucking virtually nothing on, and they had a bloke with a whipping him in front of kids, like sexually, and I'm like, you know, a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or 12-year-old, even a 15-year-old shouldn't see that. I come from old school values. I would never, like I very rarely let my kids. Listen to fucking...
listen to what we're talking about.
Listen to what we're talking about. Like, but, you know, like, but they're just... It's just so accessible now. Like, there's kids now watching fucking porn at 12, at 10.
You got a phone in your hand.
You got a phone in your hand. They type in fucking RedTube or whatever it is. Fucking...
I don't know, bro, you're telling a story.
Fucking apparently my prescription's up. But like, there's kids now in grade 5, 6 and 7... at school watching porn.
Yeah. For me, it was like maybe finding my dad's DVDs that were hidden in the cupboard somewhere.
Or seeing a fucking People magazine at the local newsagents.
Yeah, that's right. When I was going there to buy a snack.
Yeah. Like, that was the accessibility from when I was 12. Now, the kids have got fucking whatever they want in the palm of their hands. Like, literally in the palm of their hands. Like, I remember seeing those People magazines and the Playboy magazines when I was a kid, and you walk past and you'd have a quick look or something like that.
But you're nervous about it.
But you're nervous
I don't
about
get
it.
caught doing it.
That's right. Now the kids are fucking, like some of the things that my kids see on TikTok, and and it all comes back down to, like, it all started years ago. I remember, being a kid and you'd watch Rage or you watch fucking MTV, and they cut out swear words, they cut out fucking whatever, and there was the biggest sexual fucking connotation fucking thing. It was the Spice Girls dancing around. Britney Spears video. Now they got that Nicki Minaj, and they got fucking all like that. They got all these people just doing
whatever the fuck they want.
Whatever the fuck they want. Like wearing skin. And I got but for kids, like, let the kids develop into, and then these kids who are non-binary, like, fuck, when I was a kid at school and there's a kid that thought they were a cat, you'd sort of just look at them, and then by the time they were 15, they were growing out of being a cat, and they were fucking hanging out with you and cruising around going, fuck, geez, I'm glad and you talk about all this transgender stuff in America, like, kids that are 12, they're going in and getting fucking, their cock's cut off because they want to be a girl.
See, I think at that age...
Fucking no.
Like, you're going to be confused from a kid because that's just part of being a kid.
Part of kid.
But let them grow up and make that decision later down the track.
When they're 18 to 21.
Yeah.
If they want to do it when they're 18 and 21 and they got their own life, let them do that. But when you hear of, like, this whole fucking... it's social media, this whole social media thing. Bro. Because everyone has... Like you said, everyone's got a voice. Everyone's... Like I said, when I first saw it when I was playing football, these people were in my lounge. Like, they were commenting to me in my lounge. Yeah. That's when it first started for me. That's when I first saw it. That's when it dawned on me. It was like, fuck, this is weird. Like, there's so many... No wonder there's so many kids with mental problems. Yeah. Because they're all trying to get on TikTok and they're all trying to have the blue ticks and be verified and all this sort of shit.
You just pay for that now, can't you?
You just pay for that now. Like, I'm...
But you know what that is, bro? It comes back to validation.
Comes back to validation.
Come back to validation, and we get that. We have a need for that from a young age. But the thing is that social media feeds into that, right?
Yep.
It really feeds into it. Like you think from a young age, okay, like baby walks, baby gets clapped, baby gets attention, baby gets all these things. But then it learns that if it doesn't do cool shit, it doesn't get, the attention.
That's right.
So then we develop that, and then that carries on from a young age into adulthood, into being a teenager.
And I put my hand up. I've done that before.
Fuck yeah, man.
I've done that before.
I used to put the thirst trap photos up of fucking veins popping and abs out fucking on Instagram, trying to get comments, likes, all that sort of stuff.
And that validation,
That's right.
feeling of validation.
But how long does it last?
Fucking about that many minutes.
And you know what? The more you need it, the more you use it, or the more you get it, the more you need.
Yeah.
Just like drugs, just like alcohol, just like anything like that.
Addictive
It's all a
personality.
way of making us feel good because we don't feel good within ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So
And then, so now, like, if I didn't have the vodka company, I'd be off social media. Like, I like posting about my stuff and using social media as a positive. I did
it's a great platform if used the right way, but just like everything, it's got a light and a dark side, yeah? And there's people that use the dark, there's people that use the light. Just like anything else, just like validation has a light and a dark side, right? Significance, or having a high need for significance, which I'm sure you do, as well as myself. Yeah, you can do it from a dark place or from a light place, right?
It's amazing. I did a video with my kids. Good kids get good things. Bad kids get fuck all. Right? And my little daughter. So my twins were in the back of the car. They were like 8 years of age. So it happened five.
I've seen this video.
Happened 5 years ago. Now this is the difference between then and then now, right? So I posted it 5 years ago. We had 45 million views on Facebook. We had something like 1.6 or 1.7 comments. Yeah. And like I'm not proud of that, but at the end of the day, fuck's just a word for me. And fuck was a word for me when I was a kid anyway. So it's not like it's changed my life. And we'd use, and as long as they got good values and been taught my kids, which they have, they can use it. I don't mind them using the word fuck. But for me, 5 years ago, I posted that. I had 1.5, 1.6 or whatever it was. I had a fuckload of comments about it. And I could tell you right now, back then, I had maybe, I don't know, 100 comments from people going, "Oh, you shouldn't be bringing up your kids like that."
Wow.
Fuck, but that's only 100 out of fucking 1.6 million comments. Like
Really?
So all of the comments was fucking, "This bloke's hilarious. Oh, that's so funny. That's so cute." Like fucking blah blah. 6 years on, I reposted it on my Instagram. I had 1.4 million views just on my Instagram because I've gotten rid of Facebook. I don't use Facebook, and So I put it on Instagram just as a G up, and I got one. It went viral again. Got to I don't know if 1.4 million views is viral, but there was 1.4 million views. But then the comments, like a lot of the comments had changed. So in 5 years, it had gone from ha 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 to
You shouldn't say that around your kids.
you shouldn't say that around. You're a bad father. Fucking blah. You're a wanker. Like just fucking hammering me. And I was like, hang on. 5 years ago it was funny. Now it's not.
It's funny to look at that comparison, right?
I've compared it, and and unfortunately, I don't want to see how the next 5 years pans out if you can't post something like that. And it was pretty fun. Like fucking, she actually sounded really cute in the photo, in the video. But now, like, I put it up there, and it was just weird to see how the comments and people's thought just on that video in 5 years had changed, and it was just really weird. It was actually quite surprising because I said to Courtney, I said to my wife, I said, that video that went viral and had 45 million views and 1.6 million comments, and out of those 1.6 million comments, I could have counted on every my toes and my fingers, bad comments.
Yeah.
And how it had gone from, having
Scale had slid completely.
how it just totally reversed, and that's because of the mentality of people these days, and the wokeness and the fucking the PC sort of division between society right now is really interesting to see, and it was a good little learning thing for myself to see. People's minds are changing, and we look at even the comedians these days, like Dave Chappelle, try to cancel him because he doesn't give a fuck what he says. I think he's hilarious.
100%.
I think he's a comic genius. He's probably the best comedian in the world.
Says the shit everyone else wants to, but too scared to. But then you got the communities, and you got the wokeness, and you got these fucking, and I guess Bud Light 6 months ago when they did that, they thought they were doing the wrong thing.
but wokeness is not that fucking strong as what people think.
Yeah.
But it is changing. My experience with that sort of stuff is changing, which I don't know if it's going to do a full flip and everyone be woke, or people are starting to realise now that fucking wokeness, you go, what do they say? You go woke, go broke.
Well, there's a saying, right? And I think this is very relevant to right now. So it's like tough men create good times create weak men create tough times create good men.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're in that stage of weak men right now.
I think we're in a weak.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I think we are sort of in that weak mentality of life, but
yeah, and not just men, but just in general, like the
society.
Right?
That's
right.
right.
Like you said, like the stuff that would be accepted a while ago wasn't as accepted, but there was a lot stronger of a community when it came to the men, when it came to people obviously banding together. Whereas now it's like everyone's looking for something to fight it out, or I guess get against each other about.
The left and the right
Yeah.
are becoming so far apart.
Yeah.
I know myself. I sit a little bit to the right. I'm not far left. I'm definitely not far right.
Yeah.
I sort of sit. I listen to Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan.
I like Joe.
Some of the
inspiration of mine, bro. I'd love to be on his podcast one day.
Oh, how good!
That'd be fun.
I'd be that nervous. I'm fucking nervous doing it with you, but fuck, I'd be that nervous
Thanks for being
doing.
vulnerable about that. Bro. I appreciate that.
But it's like he says some really, really, really smart things. Like, your Donald Trumps, and then you got your Joe Biden supporters. Like, fuck, they're just nuts. Like they're
It's like bipolar.
It's fucking.
Yeah.
It's so weird, man. Like, and I go, and then I sit around that middle on the fence. I sit there, like I listen to both sides, and then I
take what you want from it.
And take what you want.
Right.
Like I don't like some of the things that fucking people say on both sides. You go, fuck, you can't say shit like that. You can't act like that.
Yeah.
And I think there's fucking society is where I generally sit. Like I think that 80% of people sit where I sit.
Yeah.
Like you sit where I sit.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
You know, it's
like not fence sitting, but not on one side or the
not
other.
not on one side. Like I can,
it, and then obviously filter the shit out.
filter the shit. Like
That's being aware, right?
I like fucking what Donald Trump says sometimes, not all of the times, but then
Couldn't agree more.
I listen to Joe Biden. I still don't understand what he says because he fucking doesn't know what he says.
Anybody?
I don't like. It's so fucking weird, man.
Come
Like,
here, let me sniff your hair.
he is the leader of the free world. He's the leader of the free world, and he can't fucking string two sentences together. At least Donald Trump can fucking talk.
Yeah, you do a better job.
Oh man, he is the furthest away from fucking having a clear mind, and his articulate fucking way of talking is so far.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying about the weak men, strong men thing, like tough men. Like it's fucking literally where we're at. These are the people that run the world.
It's where we're at, and like COVID for me was fuck me, man. I don't know how people to this day I sort of get a little bit fucking disheartened when you drive along and you see people in the car by themselves wearing a mask. I was in Papua New Guinea when COVID first hit, and I remember I got a company up there. I remember sitting in my hotel room. And my business partner up there, he was in the room next to me, and I knocked on his door. I said, "Fuck, what about this shit? Like, have you seen people in China? Like, this again, I'm being on social media. People in China just dropping dead. Like, fuck, what's going on? Like, is the world? This is my first thought: is the world coming to an end? And me
It was a
going,
scary time for
it was a fucking scary time, and it was weird because Michael and I were sitting in Papua New Guinea and we're working, and then we're seeing what was happening in Australia, and then Australia went to fuck, we're going into lockdown, and I was still in PNG, and Australia went into lockdown, and I remember having a meeting with a high-ranking government official in Papua New Guinea, and we were flying out Michael and I were flying out that day, and he goes, "Oh boys, fuck, Australia's gone into lockdown. They went into lockdown like 3 days before. Everyone coming into the country, you've got to quarantine." And that was when you could quarantine at home for 2 weeks before you had lockdown in the hotels. And I remember saying to Don, I said, "Fuck, we're not getting home. Like, what's going on?" It was a really scary time. And I rang Courtney back here because the kids go to PBC, and I said, "Courtney, fucking kids, they're not going to school. like I went into that whole
Panic mode,
hysteria,
right? Yeah.
panic mode. Fuck, the world's going to end. Thinking to myself, fuck, we need to get a bunker and fucking go live in the bunker for fucking 6 months. That's where my mentality went.
Yeah.
Then we had that meeting. We went to the airport. Our flight got delayed like 6 hours. We got word that we were stuck in the airport for 2 weeks because that was when people really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I was one of the first flights back into Australia. That, mate, I remember getting to the plane. Me and Michael had a few beers on the plane, so we were a bit half cut. Mate, blokes, we landed in Australia. Blokes come onto the plane with hazmat suits. I got video footage on my phone.
Yeah.
Hazmat suits, spraying the plane. Then we had to go do all the quarantine stuff, straight home, quarantine for 2 weeks. And I said to Courtney, I said, kids aren't going to school. Fuck, the world's going to end. You're not going to work. Fucking stay at home. This disease is going to fucking wipe out society. The best thing is, I got to sit at home for 2 weeks. I just whacked the TV on and I was watching every news report for about 20 hours.
Possibly the worst thing you could possibly do.
No, it was the best thing I could have done. Yeah, because I was sitting there like, nah, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Okay,
This is this is not as.
between the lines.
I read between the lines, and I'm not the smartest person. I'm not claiming that fucking I'm the smartest person. But I sat there and I listened to fucking the reports. I was like, this is fucking bullshit. And then I said to the kids, I said, you're going back to school. I said, this is not bad.
Vacation's over.
Vacation's over. You've had 2 days with me at home. And like I sat there and I entrenched myself into all news reports, CNN, fucking Fox, Channel 9, 7, 10. So I was listening to what they were saying and then I was listening to the medical experts. I was like, these fucking people don't actually know. They don't know what fucking is going on. They're stabbing in the dark. And
we're hearing one thing here and a different thing over here and another thing here.
And then I started piecing it together and I was like, nah, this is a fucking G-up. This is, first of all, they were telling us it doesn't attack kids. And then they started saying shit like, this is later on down the track, when I really knew it was a fucking fraud, that, listen, this is what got me. This is what got me. If you were sitting down, you didn't need to wear a mask. But if you were standing up, you needed to wear a mask. Yeah. Now where I've fucking spent most of my life in bars and that, like you have stools, the bar stools, and they're about that high, and you got chairs that high. So if you sat on a bar stool and you were standing next to a bloke who was standing up,
you're still at the same height.
Still at the same height. Yeah. He had to wear a mask, and because you were sitting down, I was thinking to myself, this is the smartest virus I've ever seen because it can determine if you're sitting down and if you're standing up. So if you
can see whether your hips are fucking locked in flexion or extension. Crazy.
It's fucking crazy. It is crazy. And it can determine if you're 1.5 meters away from someone.
Yeah.
And like I know the medical terms probably, particles, start diving down at a meter. So I get the 1.5. And I was like, this is fucking wild. People are fucking buying into this shit. And what I also noticed, and I'm no medical expert, is for 2 years no one had the flu or influenza A, right?
Crazy, right?
Crazy. It's amazing how it just disappeared.
Yeah.
Now it's back.
Yeah.
People are getting the flu.
And apparently COVID was never an epidemic at all.
Yeah. And then what I also fucking found really, really, really humorous and funny was fucking Queensland one day they had 3 COVID infections reported and they shut the fucking entire state down. Like that is fucking wild to me. It's crazy. It's crazy how something like that, these so-called medical experts can come in and determine people's lives and ruin people's lives.
We're talking about it before, like how you're either so far over or so far over. And I think the COVID really created that divide.
Fucking created it. But now they're starting to come back together.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird where you hear yesterday where they're trying to now implement masks back in the States for some fucking reason. And then they're talking about long COVID being a mental thing and all this sort of stuff. But the thing is, like poor old Victoria, I think they were locked down for 405 days. Yeah. That is fucking crazy for mental states. Like, you can only go 5 meters past your house or radius.
My mates just smoked cones and fucking did push-ups at home.
But that's the thing, and there was no what are humans best at? Interaction.
Of course.
Human interaction.
One of our highest human needs. One of the 6 basic human needs is connection.
Is connection.
Yeah.
And you know what? To take that away from people because of some fucking pandemic, I will never forgive people who come out and said, this, you can't do this. You cannot see your loved ones. You can't, that is fucking...
Suicide.
Mental health
killed more people than COVID ever will.
That is fucking, it is the communist fucking way of controlling people that I've ever seen. And I'm definitely not a conspiracy theorist. I sit there and I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room. And I fucking love not being the smartest person in the room. But what I've seen over the last 2 years and people's behaviours and how easily people can be controlled, that's a fucking scary thing for me. Is people being controlled and believing people they don't fucking know personally. Like these medical experts or,
Put a guy in a white coat.
And you know what else? These reporters or, these people on the Today Show or, the morning shows, telling us how to live. I was like, fuck off, I'm not doing that shit. I've stopped watching, all these shows because... we're just being fed and controlled.
Being fed shit.
And the more you switch off to social media, I'm on social media just to promote my thing, but just being controlled for me was fucking wild. It was just so crazy to think that, we're being told this and about a pandemic and about this and about that. And, people lost their lives. I get that.
Of course.
I get that. But more people lost their life through suicide.
Which has probably caused a lot of that mental health issue.
And it still are. That last 2.5 years of our life, people are going to be fucking mentally fucked for decades. And that's the thing that I fucking cannot stand.
So obviously, with the whole COVID, before we move on to the next thing, so I really want to get into the journey of starting Ariane.
Yep.
Ariane? Or?
Ariane Vodka.
Ariane, yeah. What would be the biggest positive that came from COVID or that whole, epidemic for you?
I just think that people become more aware of who they are. That's one thing. And how quickly people sort of went that way and fucking got scared by it, but how quickly we've come back.
Yeah.
And for me, now that everything's open, I've got more of appreciation of people interacting and socialising.
The things that we took for granted, right?
Things we took for granted.
Yeah.
Things we took for granted before COVID that was taken away from us by the so-called medical experts. Now you drive through Broadbeach, being on the Gold Coast, you drive through Burleigh and you see these, for me, seeing people walk through the airports and being in restaurants and not being controlled by saying you got to wear a mask and seeing people smile. For me, the pandemic finished at the end of last year, so 6 months on, is seeing the interaction that people have really excites me. That, fucking, as a community, they try to divide us, but now we're back.
Yeah.
And now we're back, and we're back bigger than fucking ever. And another thing that I'm really excited about is people now realise that, they try to control us. They fucking did for a point, but the longer it went on, politicians, they're humans, they're fucking people, but there's a minority of politicians out there that get into power and they fucking get sucked into the power and then they take it too far, like the Daniel Andrews fucking, I think... Prime example. He controlled his people. He tried to control his people. And I've got a lot of friends in Victoria.
Yeah, man, me too.
Professional sports people that have now moved up to Queensland because they can't live under that fucking communist fucking shit that went on down there. And for me, coming out of it is just the resilience that people have got. That's probably the best word that I can.
Most definitely, yeah.
The resilience that people had, fucking, we were tossed up like fucking in a salad, like we were fucking
literally, bro,
flipped up.
One day this, next day
that, and told this, can't do that, can't if you bought into it, that's great for you to buy into it, but I didn't buy into it. I fucking didn't buy into it. I had one shot, one COVID shot, then I broke both my legs, and then I had a couple of mates of mine that are fucking really high up in the medical industry said, listen, I said, should I get my second shot? And they said, don't go fucking near it. Don't go near it. With the the shit that you've gone through with your legs, fucking stay away from it.
For sure, man.
And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. My missus got vaccinated. My kids haven't been vaccinated because I don't know what's, but I'm definitely not an anti-vaxxer. Like I said, I had one shot and didn't go get my second one because I had a bit of trauma. But it's getting back to your question, is seeing people out and about with smiles on their faces for me is fucking number one. Yeah. Like that is the best. Like I love going through Burleigh and I love going through, Broadbeach at a time where everyone's out at dinner time or lunchtime and seeing the interaction that people are now having.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the scars of COVID haven't been too deep, but there's certainly people out there that have got fucking really open wounds on it.
Couldn't agree more,
And I hope we all get back to some sort of normality, both mentally. There's a massive fucking strain on people mentally. People lost livelihoods, businesses, and that's going to take decades for people to get over. To see kids would have seen parents lose everything, would have seen the mental state of parents drop, so they're going to be scarred for a long time.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I fucking hated about the pandemic. It was just fucking. Hopefully we never, and our kids never get to experience something that we experienced for 2 years. Being lied to was a big thing from people who we were supposed to trust. That's the thing that fucking gets me. These people have a position. These people have a position of power and have a responsibility to tell us the truth, and haven't. And that's burned in a lot of people's memories.
Yeah, for sure, man. Now, you played football when for the last time?
Mate, finished 2011. Finished at Parramatta. Getting back to some good footy. That
was a cool tangent, mate. I like that. That was good.
Finished playing in 2011. I had an earth moving business that I started.
Yeah.
That unfortunately, talking about mental stuff, it hit the wall. We got done for millions and millions of dollars of people not paying us. Wow. So that went under, and I lost a lot of things. But being resilient. Now, starting another business and getting that going, and it's something that happened, and it's a very, very expensive learning curve that I had. But if you're not resilient and you can't pick yourself up again, well, that's what I've done, and that's what I'm most proud about. That I could have sat there and sat at home and drank myself into rehab and a mental institution, but being a professional sports person taught me that if you get knocked down, fucking best thing you can do is get up, dust yourself off again, and fucking go again. And it took a lot of my good mental state away. Like fuck, I was fighting demons for a long time.
Yeah, you didn't have it easy for that time, really. Obviously, you had the injury we were talking about before.
Yeah, broke
shipping container.
Yeah, broke both my legs, which is fucking wild. How it happened, and the recovery over the last, when it happened 17 months ago, it's happened.
Yeah, and just prior to that, you finished walking from Cairns to the Gold Coast.
Yeah. How ironic. I did, in the space of 71 days, I walked from Cairns to Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Just under 2,000 Ks, about 1,850 to 1,900 Ks.
Yeah.
Did something like 2.5 million steps.
Yep.
And then 6 months later, I broke both my legs.
Yeah, fucking crazy, hey?
Crazy. It's fucking wild.
How'd you actually, obviously... Well, first of all, what was the purpose behind obviously wanting to walk that far? What was the challenge in that for you?
Yeah, so we started a platform that raises money for people in need, charities.
Yep.
And we were talking. How it all come about is one of my best mates. He did it 17 years ago. I think it was 17 years ago. He walked from Cairns to Redcliffe.
Yep.
Raised $2.5 million for the Redcliffe Hospital.
Yeah.
So Ronnie and I, we've been mates. He's much older than me. We've been not much older. He's probably maybe 15 years older than me. He walked from Cairns to Redcliffe, as I was saying, and we're playing golf. And he said, "What do you got going?" I said, "We've got this Fun More Challenge. We're about to launch it." He goes, "Why don't you walk from Cairns to Gold Coast as a launch?" I said, "That's fucking." As soon as it was weird, as soon as he said it. Like there was no chance I was fucking doing it. No chance in God's earth that a sane person would walk have a one-way flight to Cairns and then walk back to the Gold Coast. Yeah. And this was during COVID too, mind you. So this is during COVID.
I was thinking that timeline then.
And this was another thing why I wanted to get out and do it, because I wanted to be outdoors.
I'll put a photo of you when you finished with a beard. And
with a
everything
beard.
up. Yeah.
And this is, it's really weird how, how during COVID, there was a lot of mental stuff going on with people everywhere, all over Australia, all over the world. And I was sort of like this little beacon for a small group of people at the start. And then people started getting on, and I'll get to the story how it started, and I'll get to the story of that. Anyway, Ronnie goes, why don't you walk from Cairns to Gold Coast as a launch? And as fucking soon as he said it, I knew I was doing it. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to stay at home, and I want to wake up in my bed with my kids and fucking be at home, wake up in bed with my missus and fucking my kids being at home, and have my fucking life going on. Yeah. But as soon as he said it, I was like, I can't not do it now.
You got drawn to it.
I can't not do it.
Yeah.
He's put it in my brain. He's put it in my mind. He's put it in my head. He's put it in my space to do it. It almost...
He's challenged you,
He's challenged me. He fucking challenged me. He challenged me. Ronnie challenged
Good on
me.
you, Ronnie.
Ronnie challenged me without even saying he was challenging me.
Yeah. He called you out.
He called me out. And then as soon as he said it, I got in the car, I rang Courtney and said, I'm walking from Cairns to Gold Coast. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm walking from Cairns to Gold Coast.
So that's simple. As soon as he said it,
As soon as he said it, I had to do it.
Yeah.
I could not do it. I'd be weak. I thought I'd be weak. I thought I'd lose my manhood if I didn't do it.
Crazy how we have those thoughts. Like, it's like someone's put it out there for you and you're like, I've been called out.
Yeah, I've been called out.
It's like when you're at high school and someone's like, you got to fight the bully.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Okay.
All right, I'll probably get my fucking head knocked off, but I'll do it. Anyway, so then I went back to the boys and said, right, I've got a launch for us. And they said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something crazy. And they said, what is it? So I'm going to walk from Cairns to Gold Coast as the launch of Fund My Challenge to get it out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, fucking Theo and Dan, being good partners, they backed me and said, right, I can have a time to think about it. So I've already thought about it. They said, how long did you think about it? I said, probably 2 seconds.
That's all I talk.
Well, it's all the talk.
Yeah.
And they went, righto, sweet. So I fucking walked from Cairns to Gold Coast, raised $250,000. I wanted to raise $1 million, but I got to $250,000. So I'm not. It's not a failure.
No, not at all, man.
And it's changed a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Including the people that, when I first started, I'd wake up at 5 o'clock each morning, get in the road, get going. It was weird because, it takes a lot of mental strength to do something like that. It takes a lot of fucking fortitude to do it. And I just did it. And it got easier the longer I went because more people gained strength on what I was doing. It was fucking wild how many messages I get in the morning, direct messages on social media. Fuck Walks, I don't know you, but you're an inspiration to me. I'm actually getting out of the house. Like we've been locked down, and I'm just being like just
little things, eh?
Just messages like that.
Yeah, man.
And the hardest part of my day was wiping the sleet out of my eyes. Was actually fucking realising what area I was in at that time. So I'd wake up, first 2 minutes, and be like, fuck, here we go again. Alarm would go off, pick up my phone, fucking read some comments. And then as soon as I started reading comments about fucking the inspiration that I had for people, was fucking nuts. Like, it was fucking nuts.
I'm getting goosebumps, bro.
Like, it was nuts. It was fucking... And I would just fucking... As soon as I start reading them, I'd be fucking, right, let's go. And then I'd read another one, let's fucking go. Read another one, fucking let's go. Let's fucking do this. And then I'd post about the walk, and then I'd be fucking getting dressed. I'd be fucking... And then my team, so I had my dad So I had 3 cars. I had a car in front for safety, but... I mean, if a truck, I'll tell you about a couple of stories about fucking being nearly cleaned up. So I had dad in the front car. I had Nate Miles walk with me, the greatest fucking bloke ever. And then I had Nate Miles' dad drive the second car. Yeah. And then he had the caravan at the back. And then I had another guy, he was driving the third car behind that, and he'd drop back fucking, 250 metres, sometimes a K. Yeah. And he was an ex-truck driver, fucking legend of a bloke.
He'd let you know.
And he'd just let all the truck drivers know, right, you got walkers coming up, you got fucking people in front, like he'd have the flashing lights and whatnot. You got, in a K's time, you got car, and it was fucking awesome too, because the truck drivers who would do their run from, say, Brisbane to Cairns each week, oh, fuck, Walks is coming through Townsville. Fucking last week I seen you at Innisvale. Like, they started getting a thrill out of where I was.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
then
Because they'd hear it on the radio and then they'd see you.
And they'd see me
again.
And then the amount of times I'd have truck drivers fucking go past me up a K and you'd see them fucking hit the anchors and they'd pull over into a truck stop and then you'd walk past them and they'd be like, yeah, Walks, I seen you at fucking Mackay last week. Fucking, like they become a part of my journey too. So that was the fucking best thing is these people who would, and then coming through, these people along the way that would follow my journey, they'd come out and they'd walk with me and I'd fucking, blokes pull up and give $100 or, it just become this fucking event for people when I was walking through their areas.
You said you're a beacon for all these people,
For these people. And then I was coming through and I was having dinner at people's houses that I hadn't even met before. They'd be like, they'd message me, righto, Chris, you're coming through here in 2 days. I've got a barbecue. I've got all this meat fucking done for you. I've got fucking dinner prepared for you. And you'd pull in and have dinner with them. It's fucking, this is during the height of the COVID. This is during the height of COVID when fucking people were losing their lives for, because they didn't know if there was an end to it. Because we were told at the time that it looked like there was no end to COVID. Yeah. And people were fucking losing livelihoods and losing everything. And I was that little beacon. It's like Ned Brockman when he ran from Perth to Bondi. Like, that sort of shit is fucking superhuman.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking nuts to do that. Like,
I've got a mate at the moment, he's doing 36 half Ironmans in 36 days for cystic fibrosis, bro, in September.
It's fucking nuts.
I hear people doing that sort of stuff and I'm just like, you fucking guys are fucking amazing.
They're legends.
Because it's just, like you said, it just gives people hope.
Gives people hope. He just fucking...
One person might see that and they're like sitting at home thinking, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, I can't do that. And it gives them that little bit of hope to get off the fucking couch and do one thing different to what they were doing yesterday and realise that by being 1% better today, they're going to be 1% better tomorrow and in turn become 100% better in 100 days. They're going to be a better version of them.
That was what I was getting every day.
Yeah.
So
amazing,
as hard, like the fucking blisters and the fucking, the soreness was fucking nuts. Yeah. Like to do 30 Ks every day.
Rub and tugs?
No, like people come out and offer a massage and recovery and just dry needling just to get me through and get I'm like, here, how much are you? No, fuck, man, don't even fucking worry about that shit. Like what you're doing for our community or what you're doing for my mates told me about you and he's fucking now starting to go to the gym. He started like the inspiration that you have, like fuck it. If I didn't break my legs, I'd be doing. Because when I did it, it's so fucking hard. Like mentally, it's fucking to get up and do that repetitively, and that's one layer of how hard it is. Also, to be walking along a highway when you got trucks going past you at 100, 110, you got cars like literally going past your head. You can,
and you feel like you're getting sucked in.
You feel like you're getting sucked, and that happens like it usually take me anywhere between 5 to 6 hours to do the 30 Ks, and sometimes I'll do 35 Ks, and like to do that.
That's a pretty good pace walking.
Yeah. Yeah, and also too, what I was running. So there were some times I was getting that fit because I was doing it every day. Halfway through it, I was running like 20 Ks, 25 Ks out of the 30 Ks that I was doing.
Like back to back non-stop?
Back to back non-stop.
Fuck, that's solid.
And then my hips, my knees, footy injuries just started fucking playing up.
Yeah.
When I was coming through from Sunshine Coast down to the Gold Coast to when I finished, mate, I was fucked. My old injuries, knees, my lower back, my hips, just from being bashed from football. It wasn't like, I hadn't played professional sport. Like fucking all the old injuries that I had, the Achilles, when I snapped my Achilles, like he'd started playing, like, mate, I was put together by sticky tape by the end of it.
How long you spend on your feet, bro? Especially running, walking, anything like that, man.
Repetitive stuff.
It just
fucking
loads
nuts.
the body up like there's nothing else, eh?
Yeah, so I was sort of towards the end of it, 15 Ks in. For the next 15 Ks, I was fucking
just hating life.
Just buckled, fucking the amount of blisters and the chafe and then the soreness from old injuries just kicked in and it was just nuts. Like it was fucking coming through from Brisbane Sunshine Coast to Brisbane was nuts, and then from Brisbane to Gold Coast was next level. Like, it was fucking, mate, the pain that I was in, like coming through, because I ran every bridge except for 3 bridges because that was my rule. So every time I come to a bridge on the highway, whether it was fucking a footbridge, I ran it.
Yeah.
I ran it, and I ran over the Southport Bridge. What's that called?
Sunnydale.
Sundale Bridge. Yeah. I ran over the Sundale Bridge, and mate, I got to the end of it, and I was literally doing the Cliffy Young shuffle. I was fucked. Yeah. And I got to the end of it, and I stopped, and I was like, fucking, I'm so glad I've got a day left. Like, I thought to myself, if I had to keep on walking to, say, Byron, I don't think I could have got there. Or even if I had to walk to fucking Coolangatta, I would have had to fucking pull the pin. But I'd finished at Broadbeach, so I had like 15 Ks to go. And I just remember thinking to myself, no, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And then I thought, nah, fucking, there's too many people fucking on the back of this. There's too many people reaching out to me about their lives. I can't let them down. Or I've got this close, like fucking, you know. But up until, last year, so 6 months after I broke both my legs, the side of a shipping container fell on me.
When you say the side, like the door of it, or
no, so what they do, I was delivering the vodka to a pop-up bar in Townsville. Yeah. So this is about a month after we'd started. I delivered it to one of my mates who's got an events company. He'd just bought the shipping container off, I think, 4X. So what they do is a 40-foot shipping container. So they fabricate it. They take the whole of one side out. So there's 2 of them. Yeah. They take the whole of one side out. They take the whole of the second shipping container out, and they put them together
and create like a pop-up sort of thing.
And create a bar. And then on the other side, they fabricate 2 sides out, and then they lower those down, and then that becomes the entry into the bar. So it becomes like a ramp, and they were ramping it up, and it fell on me. So I had a compound fracture on my left leg, both tib fib, so tibula was sticking out of my bone, and then I snapped my right tib. Yeah. So I had a rod down my right side, and then I had a rod down my left side. I cracked my patella, did my ACL and my meniscus and my left knee. They're still fucked. Like, I haven't got them repaired yet because I don't think mentally I can. Because when I did my legs, mate, I still am fucking. I wake up I reckon I'd probably, out of the week, I'd wake up for, say, 4 nights going, fuck, just having PTSD about it.
Really?
Oh, man, it's so nuts. Like, it's fucking so nuts.
Epic, bro.
The shit that, yeah. And so my surgeon said to me, he goes, oh, when are we doing my knee? And I said, mate, if I have to do another recovery, like now I'm starting to walk and, you know, playing golf and starting to play golf. Back, like, I'm starting to get that back, but it's still fucked. Like, if I wake up and I've got the sheets on my legs, on my feet, I wake up and fucking startled, and I kick them off. So I can't sleep. I can't sleep with the blankets on my feet.
Wow,
it's fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. It's not cool, but I mean, it's just something I'm gonna have to live with. Yeah, still got fucking.
Still here, bro.
Yeah, still, yeah, and I can still kick the ball with my little fella. So, you know, so I just said to my surgeon, he goes, mate, when are we doing your knee? And I said, what's the recovery on it? He goes, up to 9 months. Recovery, like, so you can get back. I think it's 4 months after you had the surgery. Like, you'd be in a brace at home for 2 to 3 months. I said, fuck that. I'm not doing that. Yeah. Otherwise, I said to him, if I do that, I'll probably kill myself. Like, there's no way I can do it. Like, I'm pretty mentally fucking strong generally, but I said, mate, if I got to do another 6 months of recovery, you know, walking, you know, fucking build everything again, wanting to do everything again. I said, mate, I can't do it. He goes, mate, you're gonna, like, so every time I get in the plane and I sit on the left side because it's my left knee, I'll get in and I'll get to walk in and my knee gives away. So it fucking gives away all the time. So I said to him, mate, I'd rather do that than go through recovery at the moment of 6 months. Otherwise we'd be fucked. So I got to now fucking wait to see how that goes. Yeah. But it's all a process, man. It just fucking, you know.
It's a big fucking injury, man.
Massive.
You're off your feet for how long?
Well,
quickly, just going back to the walk. So how long did it actually take you to do the walk?
71 days.
71 days.
Because 71 days. So it was supposed to take me 60 days or 65 days, but I got shut down for COVID. They shut me down
for 10 days.
Yeah, all up about 6 days they shut me down for. So I got shut down coming through Sunshine Coast, got shut down for a day Brisbane, and then I got shut down 3 days when I was coming through Brisbane to Gold Coast. Yeah. So I walked into Origin, did Origin and all that sort of stuff, and then we had three COVID reports and they shut down the whole state. So here I am walking along the highway with no one around me and they shut me down. It's fucking wild. It's nuts. I was like, how can you get COVID when there is fucking no one around you?
Yeah.
So I should have finished a lot earlier, but I didn't. But it still took me that amount of time. I had a couple of days off during the walk as well, just as recovery.
Yeah,
and if I didn't do that, I was fucked.
For sure.
Gone.
For sure.
But it's only one day here. There. Like I think I had maybe 1 or 2 days, 3 days, I think, all up, and then I got shut down for 6. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time, good period of my life, and gave me time to reflect of who I was too. So, wasn't the greatest father and fucking role model for my kids and husband. So it sort of just, it was like, it almost became like a pilgrimage for myself to find out who really I am. And it was a good thing. And then fucking 6 months later, I snapped both my legs and fucking nearly died.
Yeah. Now, that would have been a pretty dark time for you, especially after having that hype of going through that ordeal of walking for 71 days and then obviously having all that inspiration and being that person to then being in that wheelchair. So what was the hardest part about that for you?
Fucking being addicted to painkillers.
Yeah, okay, so like oxys,
sort of endones. Yep. And mentally, man, fuck, I go from being happy to fucking now talking about this shit. Fucking annoys me. Yeah. But like, yeah, dark times. Like, mate, nothing worse than being so fucking active and so in the moment with everything too. Laying on a couch for, fucking 10 weeks.
Once again, it comes back to what we're talking about with COVID, right? The things we take for granted. Like simple stuff, being able to walk and move your body. And
getting up, going to the toilet.
Yeah.
Like fucking worst thing is not being able to move and having one of those piss bottles. Every time I need to get...
I need one of those right now, bro. I need to piss so bad.
Having one of those piss bottles, fucking sitting on the couch watching TV, pissing in a piss bottle. Like, that sort of shit's not normal. Like, that's fucking not normal. And it frustrates me, Like, it frustrates me now, like, but then I think to myself, I've got a good life. Like, I haven't been taken away. I've had mates lose legs and limbs and fucking whatnot. But having that, sitting on the couch, pissing in a fucking thing, yelling out to your missus or your kids to come and fucking take the piss thing away. Like, those sort of little things. When it first happened, I remember just sitting there. It was still on my legs, and I just remember going, these fucking people better not take this fucking lid off my legs and just have no feet. That was, and then I think to myself, fuck it, because with the trauma of this leg, they were looking at cutting my left foot off.
That's with left leg, yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, fuck, if I can't kick the footy with my young fella, I'm going to be fucking filthy. So it didn't get to that. I've still got complications with my legs, like fucking, just pain when it's cold and fucking all, like just, anyway, just fucking.
Just stuff you wouldn't have obviously thought about before.
Like that I shouldn't have in my life.
Part of life.
Like when it's cold, waking up going, fuck, okay, I've got to hobble to the shower.
So everything's so stiff.
Everything's so fucking stiff, locked up. Yeah, that sort of shit. Like even with all the injuries I had with football, is fucking so insignificant to what happened with my legs. Hopefully it gets better. I don't know. That's something that's gonna have to fucking take time.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just having things taken away from you in an instant is the thing that fucking really bothers you. But fuck, I've still got my kids, I've still got my missus, still got some sort of health. Yeah, 100%. And I've got a fucking vodka company now.
Cool. Okay, so the vodka company, was that sort of, I guess, conceived around that time? Was that sort of when you started thinking about that? And during that time, obviously, this is just an assumption, but you probably would have been on the other side of that, obviously drinking and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, taking painkillers.
Oh, the painkillers, man, I was in pain, but then you don't know the difference between pain or just taking too many.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point where I was just taking fucking 20 Oxycontins a day.
Fuck, man.
Like, and my mental state, like even now, I'm still trying to get my serotonin levels back to fucking some sort of normality and staying off the drink. Like, I think because I'm off the drink, it's because of my legs ultimately. I think, like, I love going and socialising. Now I'm fucking more of a recluse at home. I sit at home and I don't go out because I don't drink, and I think that's probably a byproduct of having fucking a significant injury like I have.
Yeah, because obviously there's things that could happen if something were to happen on the piss, right?
That's right. And, it's, and then sort of my mental state with my missus, like, fucking, I'd be up, and then, mate, fucking coming down off the oxys and the endo would just be fucking, mate, and my kids would avoid me. Like, I'd be sitting on the couch all day, fucking doing nothing, and they would avoid me like the fucking plague because they're like, fucking what? And they're just starting to come back to me now.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas before they'd just they get home from school and they go, no, we're not going near Dad.
Wide birth.
They'd wide birth me like, hey Dad, and then I'd either be zonked out or fucking, like just not a nice person, and they'd just fucking go sit in their rooms. Yeah. Just fucking, I wouldn't see them until the next morning. And I'd lay on the couch, I'd fall asleep on the couch, I'd walk home, they'd get home from school and Dad's passed out on the couch fucking on oxys. And then, add the drink into it and you'd be like fucking all over the shop.
Yeah, technical difficulties. Back.
We're back.
Yeah, so you're just saying how obviously.
Yeah, with all the painkillers and oxys, it just. Mate, they just messes with your serotonin levels and fucking your happiness. And mate, I was just in right then just a state of darkness. Like I didn't know what the future brought for me, and I wasn't out of the clear of amputation for my legs. And
man, that's a scary place.
It's so scary. Even today, like I haven't been able to. I'm starting to get back into some training now. Yeah. I tried to get back into training about 4 months ago. Nate Miles owns F45s. He owns a shitload of them. He's one of my best mates. And I went back to there and I started doing some training, and then my left knee, every single time I'd do a session, would just blow out like a soccer ball.
Yeah, man.
So then I thought to myself, you know what, I'm getting back into some mental, like fucking that good mental state and fucking being happy. And then boom. Back down to like fuck, what's going on here? Like, being a professional athlete and being at the height of my game, I was like, fuck, what I haven't been able. So in 17 months, I haven't been able to run. Have not had a running session. Haven't run.
That's probably something you really enjoyed, right?
Oh, fucking love it.
Yeah, man.
Like go and even to the point now, the last 7 months have been on the piss. Trying to get my legs right. Looking after my kids, asking, my when I was playing football, I was very fast, and all my kids now want to learn how to sprint. So I take them down to the field, and I can't actually show them how it's done because I can't run, and that fucking annoys me. Like bro, the frustration levels I get from just that because I love it, I can't do. So that's an area in my life that now I'm trying to navigate myself through. I think one day I might be able to get there to even be able to go for a road run with my kids like I used to do with my dad and my brothers. Yeah. I can't do that, and that bothers me. Not being a great father. I am a fucking unbelievable father, but that sort of just tops it off. Like, being able to share the moments with my kids like that, like sharing moments, going fishing, and
being able to share your passion with your children,
with my children, and they go, Dad, come down to the park and go for a run with us, and I'm like, I can't. Yeah. Dad, come and show us how to do sprint training. I can't. I can tell you, but I can't show you. And that's a thing that I'm now just trying to maneuver myself through, just on the back of not being able to do it because of my legs. Like, I can go play golf with my young fella. Yep, that's cool, and I do that. But showing them how to run out balls or a drill in football, even now that I'm taking over my Crumman Eagles under 13s team, like I can't show them a hooker to get out and take a scoop from dummy half because I can't run.
So it's like you lost a bit of your identity.
I've lost my identity, especially with my kids. Like, because my kids always see, oh, Dad, you're so fast. Show us how to run. Like that sort of shit. Yeah. I can't show you. I can tell you, but I can't show you.
And that's two different things, right? Like
fucking two different things.
Being able to actually, like we said, like physically demonstrate something for someone, as opposed to being able to show them. It's just two completely different things.
Some people learn from theory. Some people learn from prac.
Yeah.
My kids are prac.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that 100%.
Yeah.
So obviously there would have been a big time there where it was like you were struggling with purpose. Like, what was the next step for you when you were obviously coming through that recovery?
Well, still going through recovery.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, the day that I can go for a 10, 15, 20K road run is I'm done. But I reckon the way it's been going, mate, that won't happen. Like last year, so with the Fund My Challenge stuff, we don't do anymore. I was supposed to do the walk from Cairns to Gold Coast, which I completed.
Yep.
Then last year, same time, I was supposed to do a walk from Gold Coast to Sydney.
Yep.
Then the year after that, we were navigating Sydney to Melbourne.
Right.
And then eventually do the whole of Australia.
Holy fuck.
That was my plan. That's our plan. That was our plan for fun, and make it an annual event, same time, leave at the same time, walk into Origin, like those sort of things, because now they have Origin around different states. So our purpose was, righto, what we'll do is the next 7 years we'll do, Gold Coast, Sydney, Sydney, Melbourne, Melbourne, Adelaide, Adelaide, Perth, Perth, Broome, Broome to Darwin, Darwin down to Charters Towers back to Cairns. That way I would have done
the whole loop.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mount Isa.
Yeah.
So I would have done the whole loop.
Yeah.
And that would have been my thing. But now we can't do it.
So how's your purpose changed and what is your purpose now, would you say?
My purpose is to get myself as best I can.
Yeah.
Stay on the path that I'm on at the moment with the non-drinking and getting this to be the biggest. I want us to be the biggest vodka house in Australia. So my purpose now is to drive my team.
Yeah.
And get myself to become a leader, a better leader than what I have been.
Yeah.
I try and talk to Wayne Bennett as much as I can.
Great leader.
Him and I talk on a regular basis. So I try and keep my conversations with him to 2 to 3 times a month.
Yeah.
Just on leadership and culture.
Yeah.
Because
culture's huge, right?
Huge. It's massive. Having a good culture and being a good leader, then I can lead my team, my sales team with the vodka. We've got a great little sales team at the moment, really willing people. So it's really nice to have that team behind you. But becoming a better leader is my purpose, and also too is to stay in the path with being a better father for my kids and a better husband for my wife is number one for me.
I think that's all part of being a leader, right? It's like, being 100%. A leader not just to your team, but like to your team, your home tribe, right?
Yep.
So obviously now you've been off the piss for 7 months. Was there a turning point there for you that was like, hey, I need to pull up on this? Or was it just one day you sort of had that realization that life's better without it?
Yeah, it was November 5th last year.
Wow, okay.
Was the date. I just had a massive night on the piss and I got home at Sunday afternoon and I was just like, you know what? I went to bed, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife was filthy with me. Courtney was filthy with me. She was asleep in Chase's bed with him. And I woke up at 3 o'clock to see if she was there, and I had a panic attack. And I was like, and I laid in bed and I felt that sick at just what had happened. And I let Courtney and the kids down again. That was the thing. It was just, and when it walked out, 3:30, sat on the couch, sat there for about 2 hours before any of the kids had woken up. The sun was coming through because it's summertime, sun rises early. Yeah. And I just remember thinking to myself, I was with people last night and yesterday that don't give a fuck about me.
Of course, yeah.
They couldn't give a fuck about drinking with me. They couldn't care less about me, but I let the 4 people that live under my roof down again. People who care about me. Where's Dad? What's he doing? Why isn't he home? And I thought to myself, that's not a leader. Like, I want to lead people. I want people to look up to me and I want to inspire people to do better. And how can I do that when I'm letting myself down and I'm letting them down? And it has been, and having a vodka company doesn't mean that other people shouldn't drink, because then people who can go to the pubs, and that, like I said earlier on, 95% of people, they can go to the pub and drink as much vodka as they want or drink as much booze as they want, and they're fine. But I'm that 5% that, unfortunately for me, everything that I do is 100%, and that includes drinking.
No half measures.
There's no half measures.
Yeah.
And I don't do things in halves, and that's one thing I've never done. And there's one thing that I spoke to Wayne about the drinking. He goes, Chris, he said, I wish you had to stop drinking when you were 19. He said, you would have played more Origins, you would have played for Australia, you would have played fucking in grand finals and won grand finals. He said that was your biggest thing, is alcohol. and now I own an alcohol company, which is how ironic is that? And like I said, I enjoy watching people enjoy my product.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy drinking my product. I love my product. My product is so fucking smooth. It's fucking ridiculous, and I love it. But I actually get more enjoyment watching other people enjoy my product.
Yeah.
And that's where my satisfaction comes from, and that's where my purpose comes from. It's making sure that they enjoy it. Like, it's not like drinking methylated spirits. It's actually really smooth.
It's no smell off.
No, it's no fucking smell. It's better than Grey Goose.
Yeah.
And people love Grey Goose.
Yeah. That was my go-to, man. I wouldn't drink anything but Grey Goose.
Well, my go-to was Belvedere and Grey Goose.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
That was my go-to. And now I had this, and it was just thousands of bottles in my fucking distillery, and I'd walk past and I'd fucking crack one open and I'd drink it during the day, and because it was readily available. And then I just made the point, I was like, you know what, let other people enjoy my product. I don't need to be drinking. I love it. It fucking tastes
You know
great.
it's good, yeah.
I know it's good.
Yeah.
And, I know that you have a hell time on it. And I know that people they can do that. They can, and that's them, because they can, I can't. And my purpose now is being a better leader at home with my kids. My kids are 13, my twins are 13, and Harper, and Chase and Nala are 13, and Harper's 15. And, to see them, what I'm doing with the company is inspirational for them, and that's what I want to be. I want to be that leader for them to, I don't want to be that. I've seen my dad, we owned a pub for 7 years when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I've seen my dad drunk once in my life. Once. Whereas my kids had seen me drunk fucking 3 times over the weekend.
Yeah.
And that's, I love my dad. He's my hero. He's my role model. So is my mum. But I've seen my dad drunk once in my life. I'm 43 years of age, and at 13 and 15, they've seen their dad fucking blind plenty of times, and that's something that I don't want to have my kids growing up. Having a father like that. So people go, well, why you got a vodka company? Well, because I'm not that 95% who can drink. I'm that 5% who shouldn't. So that's where I'm at the moment in my life, and I'm happy that I'm doing that. I've just got to get these things right.
Yeah, the old fucking walking sticks.
Fuck the old walking sticks. And the old walking sticks, they've been my life.
Yeah.
That's what gave me my identity in the community.
Yeah, man.
Is these things, and now they've been taken away from me, and that's the fucking difficult part that I'm trying to deal with.
Since you stopped drinking, have you found that it's been easier to deal with that? And obviously, since you have stopped drinking, what has been the biggest positive you've found from that?
I know for a fact with my mental state, with these, if I didn't stop drinking, I'd be dead. I would have killed myself.
Pretty heavy, bro.
One fucking $1,000,000% would have killed myself.
Yeah.
Well, there's fucking, in the last 7 months, people would have been saying, I remember Chris Walker.
Yeah, bro. We wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
No, fucking 1,000,000,000%. Because that dealing with that and having the Oxycontins and dealing with that and then getting on that was fucking, I was fucking a train wreck.
Yeah.
Waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
Yeah. So what has been the biggest positive that's come from that situation for you then with no drinking? What has been the biggest thing that's...
About my legs?
Not
drinking?
What's been the biggest positive you noticed?
Probably just more so getting these right and having a relationship with my kids. Don't get me wrong. My relationship with my kids fucking love me.
Yeah.
But they hated seeing the fucking ups and downs, especially the Oxycontins and the mental state that I was in because of this.
Yeah.
Everything's been taken away from me.
Yeah.
And I could have felt sorry for myself and fucking laid under my bed in the fetal position sucking my thumb. But I've made a decision. I was like, fucking righto, Chris, you're going to go one or two ways. You're going to go fucking dead or jail.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do both because I want my kids to have a life like I had growing up with my family and growing up with my parents. That's the decision I made. I was like, you know what, fucking, I will. I have no question that when I was drinking after this happened, the lows that I was having was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, like nothing I'd ever experienced before in my drinking days before the accident happened.
Yeah,
just a different mental state afterwards was ridiculous.
So if there was someone else out there that might be going through a similar experience to what you went through, where you've lost that part of your identity, something that you really strongly identify with, what would be that one piece of advice you'd give to them?
I'd probably have to say just get yourself in a better routine. Routine for me is fucking number one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, bro.
Routine, like I said, I didn't train this morning,
Yeah.
and I slept in an hour and 15 minutes past the 5 o'clock, and my routine's out.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, my meetings now being pushed back, and this could have been pushed back. Like it was just fucking like I'm now. Oh right, I've got to regroup and get that going, and then now, so tomorrow, then I can get back into my routine.
Yeah.
Probably routine for me will start at 4:30, 5 o'clock when I go coach my team, and then I'll be back into my routine then. So if I can get everything done before then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So that routine for me is if you're going through, because generally what happens, society loves routine. Society,
Function really well with it, don't we?
from a young age, 8:30, we're at school. That was our routine. Everything we did before 8:30 was routine, even at a young age. I don't really believe in school anyway, but
I didn't do too well there either. But the thing, like you said, bro, like so prior to after going to school, I didn't have really much routine. I was on drugs. I was doing this, doing that. Ended up in jail. Jail was all about routine. Get up at this time, go and do this, go and do that. You've got like structure to your day.
Yeah.
And after getting out of jail, that was the biggest thing that I took away from it was the structure.
Yep.
So I can definitely see how that could be a positive for you. Now, really appreciate you coming out, brother. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And that's some fucking good little fucking bombs in there, didn't we?
Yeah.
But before we go, if you had all the money in the world, what would be the first thing you'd do?
Buy a private jet. Buy a private jet big enough for every family member and every friend I had, and I'd go on a world tour with them. And I'd celebrate life, and I'd take away anyone's problems, and I'd make sure that everyone enjoyed themselves and knew that they didn't have any worries when they got home.
Oh, man. Love it. Now, if people want to find you, Chris, where can they find you, brother?
I was on Facebook, but I deleted it. But I'm on Instagram. I am Chris Walker.
Yeah, I'll put all the links down below as well.
LinkedIn and Twitter.
Yeah, awesome, brother. Well, thanks very much for coming on and having a yarn, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.